So instead of me babbling on, we're going to get started here. I want to introduce Gerard Amsellem. Some of you know him. He was born in France. He grew up with a love for film. He came to America. He became a filmmaker in his own rights. He taught film for many years locally in Livingston, I believe. And he is one of the foremost experts on foreign and international cinema that you could ever know. Through his company, New Wave Productions, he does a lot to spread love and knowledge of foreign cinema. That includes the work he's doing over at the Montclair, at the Cinematheque series. We're fortunate to have him as part of our series as well. He's been there from the start. This is the 20th year of the West Orange Classic Film Festival, and Gerard spoke at the first year in 2006. And here he is again for an incredible film. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is Gerard.
Hello and welcome. I'm always very happy to see so many people to watch a film of 1989. So my first reaction always is, what is the difference in cinema in 1989 and today? Cinema Paradiso was shown in the main movie theater around the world in 1989. Today what we are watching is not this quality of film. The film was very famous in 1989. I was looking at, going over what was the film that the people watched in movie theater. It was Dead Poets Society. It was Driving Miss Daisy. It was always this kind of film of great quality for, we say, an average of masses of people, meaning there was an independent film in 1989 who was starting a little bit. There was the masses of movies like regular films that people used to go to see. Lina Vermuller in 1977, 1980, movie theater in the city was full of foreign film. All this was very, very, very strong. And over the years, from 1989 to today's, these movies of high quality moved away into a classic film. We still have some independent films who survive in festivals, like Sundance and 30,000 entry of film for people who wanted to be or show foreign film or independent film. And we have very little. Everything is getting smaller and smaller to the movie theater. Now people going home and watching them on TV because it's easier. But cinema by itself and the culture of cinema has been so affected that the best thing you do is to go to the movie theater. Because by going to the movie theater and supporting good film, the production company will produce and distribute good film, otherwise it disappears. And even on the platform, everything is disappearing. It's very difficult to watch good film. And you see it in the Academy Award today, what we are watching and how the idea of very fast action is really what people want and not so much about reflection. Films like this are complex, they have a very great character development, but before we need to tell you a little bit about the film, I'm going to tell you what Italian cinema is. Italian cinema, the most important part of the Italian cinema, was created after World War II. It's called the Neo-Realism. You have Vittorio De Sica, Rossellini, Visconti, all these young characters after the war. Of course, Bicycle Thief, all these films who are socially involved, who are very kind of made for everyone, and who are strong into the way of making messages. So the Italian film starting like this from 1945 to like late 50s, and after that you have people like Fellini who come up, Pasolini is coming a little bit after, and slowly all these good films up to like early 80s are gonna slow down. There is another wave of movies who are going in France, but Italian film from the 80s slow down and come back with this film. 1989 with Cinema Paradiso made a great impact. best foreign film, and two, an idea of like looking at film into a complex way and making a very strong statement. So you have this as one of the film who brought back Italian cinema to the international scene. You have a lot of other films too, obviously, because American cinema from the 90s, you know, are gonna come up with Tarantino and all this crowd of new filmmakers. But this makes a statement of Italian film. To talk about the film and tell you a few things about Cinema Paradiso, Giuseppe Tornatore is a director, was born in 1956, so he's going to be 60 years old. And when he makes the film, he had a vision of a film. The film was going to be 2 hours and 55 minutes or 45 minutes. He came out, he was in the movie theater, and the production company and distribution say, it's too long. You cannot have 2 hours and 45 minutes even at the time. And the film was retaken and recut. Now it's like 1 hour 45 or something like that, a little bit less. And it was re-put aside. And of course, then it was a success that he started. So sometimes just the length of the film make a difference. In the film, you have 2 or 3 things that you have to remember. You have to remember that it's a Franco-Italian production. And one of the 2 main actors are very important French actors who do not speak Italian. So they say, what do you mean? You say, yes, at that time, even before, you could be one of these great actors, not speaking a language and being a part of a foreign film, because they will let you say your line in your own language, sometimes with no sound, going in the studio and dub it with another actor. So these 2 actors are Philippe Noiret, who is in, the main actor in this film, and he's not just a small actor, French actor. Everybody knows Philippe Noiret as much as Gerard or Catherine Deneuve. He's like the big icon of the film, and he accepted because he wanted at the beginning to take Marcello Mastroianni. And they say, it doesn't look good for the role, so they asked Philippe Noiret to come, and Jacques Perrin, who is the older Toto, like when you see it at the end of the film, with another very famous French actors too. And these 2 people are imagining like doing your line in French, and when they will go to the studios, they change it. This movie has been more than just that. It has been like a statement today for cinema. Cinema was always the place where people used to live. It was their community. I just said something to someone when my mother used to go to the movies, we're talking about in the 30s. They used to come and go to the food. So I said, what do you mean the food? They said, well, we bring food to the movie theater, like 1930s, I remember. She said that everything is a community thing. At the time, like when you're going to start Cinema Paradiso, it's a community center, meaning people are looking at each other, start a love story, talk about politics, have all kinds of different things. So cinema at that time, as we go through the film and all the different steps, you see what cinema represented at the time and what slowly you can see it disappear as more of the place where people go and watch, but it was much more than that. And in this film is the whole story of the village with around the movie theater. So all these films have created a lot of nostalgia, and what makes the success of the film, but we'll talk after about like a Q&A, there is, besides the actors, besides the love stories, besides all these elements who are kind of extraordinary, one thing we remember always about Cinema Paradiso is the music. Ennio Morricone, the writer of the music, has really impacted the film so much, and when you listen to this music, you know that it's about a film. So you have all the elements who make it a film, who is a good film, because I say all the time I will never talk about something that I don't like, but it is still a commercial film. It's seen by everyone worldwide. This is what we don't have today. We don't have films who are good and in the same time commercial. Commercial film is equal most of the time as a visual, commercial and consumer thing. So good films in general are more independent and more marginal. But this in 1989, you're watching a film who combines everything. Besides the fact it can be seen by everyone, and it can be a reflection about the film, about what cinema is, and where we are today. Big reflection, big statement. Besides the fact that most of the people, I think maybe 90% of the people who watch Cinema Paradiso, they cry. Yeah, I should have like some tissues because it's such a crying film, but not in a negative way. All the feeling and the melancholy about this film is so well and so greatly done that it's touching us, make us reflect on what cinema is, and it's really like what they say, a postal card to cinema. It really is a big statement of what we lost. And maybe why is this with reason like we can watch again this film instead of watching anything else. We have to go back in time and watching films who have quality film, and it's what my company has been doing, showing Japanese film, Iranian film from 1950s, 60s, any kind of time in the world, because cinema is something with an art form, and it should be treated that way, that when something is good can be watched and rewatched. There is no way that you have been watching one thing and you're going to forget about it. So thank you very much for coming. The Q&A after will give you all as much explanation I can give you about all the elements, about the costume, about the acting, about the editing of the film, and where we are, into like the beauty of this film, which is still extremely popular. So as you can see, all of you come here today. Thank you very much for coming and enjoy the film. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gerard. Nino, whenever you're ready, please roll.
All right, thank you. I hope you enjoy this film. And just to start about cinema in general, about film, always when you watch a film, you have to ask your question, what do I like it and why I don't like it? When I used to teach, when I teach in school, I used to say to the kids, you don't tell me that it's awesome or that it's great. Why is it great? Why is it awesome? And it's what makes a difference. Because when you ask this question, as you go through the process of understanding how the film is made, you realize that there are some points who are so greatly done. If they do the job on you and the feeling, you realize how great it is. So this film is from Giuseppe Tornatore, who come from a small village in Sicily. Most of the scenes were shot there. So you have the shooting is a lot of them outside, like the neo-realist. That is one thing that you should know, because he really took a lot from his own experience, his own vision growing up of what film was, or what cinema was, and what of the community were like connected with each other. So in a film you have the storyline, which is really the most important at the beginning, because he wrote the screen, right? So writing is done by himself. He just went through everything, what the story was going. And after that, they really look at how the actors, who are the actors, what they have been doing with the stories. Casting is extremely important in this film. So from Toto, who is like a little boy, in general, when we direct young actors, it's one of the most difficult things that you can do, because children are very difficult to direct, and of the great film, obviously when you see this, you have to think about Bicycle Thief, and you have to think about 400 Blows, you have to see about all these great films who carry so much of how the child carries the film. And you can ask your question, as a director, if you had to take away Toto, how is the film will be? Is the film will be holding? What holds the film together and what makes the strength of the film? So every actors in this film are very, very strong. It's not like the neo-realists where non-professional actors, the two main actors, the main actors, the two adult men are very, very professional actors, especially Philippe Noiret. Philippe Noiret at that time already had been like maybe 30 or 40 films. He's an extremely professional actor and he carries a lot of the film too, So you have this, you have Toto, you have Toto young and Toto old. Jacques Perrin too is a very, very well-known actor. So you have this element in the storyline who cover everything possible. So what it is in this film you can find, especially if you have a connection with that time, you can find something for you because from the love story was very, very well built, and from the community stories, and from the statement about cinema. Remember, this was a cinema we were watching everything. I mean, all the films that we are watching is from John Wayne to Akira Kurosawa to Roger Vadim to all of the films who are coming. There was a time where people were going to the movies. It was an entertainment time. Sunday we were going to the movies most of the time. It was the only thing that they were doing. But still, all the films obviously are dubbed, as you can see it, but it's not like the process. The process of going there is to just have a break, just think about something else, and have all the community together. Two things will make the community together. I mean, in most of this country at the time, it's religion, and religion is very well described in a way which, like, for once, not too, not too negative. He has a sense of humor, he has a lighter sense of what religion could be in Italy at the time, in Sicily especially. And he has all this group you can see in the theater, from the gangster that he's got a shot, and from the love story, everything around the community, and the really, really power, the strength of the community as cinema is really growing and making it people together. Like I was saying, in the 17th century, people used to go in the theater. And for a few pennies, this is really what made cinema so powerful. When cinema was created, the first people who had the idea to make cinema, so they say the studio in the West Coast, they say, well, if we make a little room all along the country where people could put 5 or 6 pennies and watch a film, it would be great. And it's what cinema started. Cinema started by people used to go and pay a couple of pennies, go there, listen, and watch some images going through, and it was a way of like lighting themselves here also. After that, after the entertainment process, we went to a more intellectual part with more of the European cinema. But cinema is like a tool for society to be able to connect, to be able to reinforce their vision of a better world, and by connecting all these groups together. So the goal of the film is to put all these elements. It could be love, it could be death, it could be melancholia, it could be relationship between father-son, or father with son does not have father replacing by Alfredo. All these elements are so much into a film. We call this character development. Every character in this film is developed. And I can tell you, even the small one, even the guy who's running in the piazza, the crazy guy, who says, this is my piazza, this is my, even him, you have a feeling that this character has been developed. This is what's missing most of the time in the film today. We don't develop the character of a person. All of these people are developed, all of these people are connected, and all of these people tell you something. It could be Toto's mother, or Alfredo's mother. It could be any of these people have a specific role in the film who makes the film so rich. But most of this is tied by something that I think, me who have been watching so many films in my life, the music is extraordinary. Ennio Morricone is like one of the giants of music because this music is the music of Cinema Paradiso. If you walk on the street and you hear this music, you have the image in your head. This is what genius is. If you go in a museum and you see a Pablo Picasso, you know it's a Pablo Picasso. Ennio Morricone has been making, besides like the Western spaghetti that he was very famous for,
this movie is really a movie with really tied up this melancholia, this really connection. And most of the people are touched emotionally. This was the goal of cinema. Cinema is made to touch you. It meant to just move you around. Entertain certainly, but really the big things in your life, if I tell you what is the most important film you watched in your life, it's not gonna be, most of the time, let's say, it's not gonna be some entertainment film, but it's gonna be a film that touches you emotionally in so many ways that whenever you watch this film, the emotion come back, your reconnection come back. And of course, what I say, and always, these films are teaching you about culture of another country. I say something I have been saying, I showed an Iranian film like a few days ago, and I say, if people were watching film from other country, they will understand the world a little better. They will connect with people in a certain way, and they will be able to live better together. So when you watch a film about like this Italy of just before the war and during the war, you really understand how these small little villages were like so connected together, and it makes you feel a little bit more appreciative of like what the life is there, and how the people were like, living together. And again, a very, very big statement about the great cinema of Hollywood, but not just cinema of Hollywood, because in this movie you watch the great, you have Greta Garbo, you have Clark Gable, all this, but you have too, Visconti, La Terra Trema, you have Roger Vadim, and all of these great filmmakers who have been showing what movies are is in the film. And it's really the show of like how we need this. I mean, when you finish with this crucial scene, the last scene, this last scene is certainly one of the best scenes of the history of cinema. Because it's not just one thing. You really connect all the film as an end, and this was made always in film. This is what you're looking at. How is the film finished? And that is a really, really strong end, because it makes you going through all the life of Toto and all what cinema is and how nostalgic it is. As you know, there is a version of 2 hours and 55 minutes that I watched with, actually it's a better version. If you are already, anybody watches the longer version of Cinema Paradiso? It's longer, and it's like he goes back and he looks at his love interest and he can connect with all this. So there is a lot of different, it's a different film somehow, but it's always so centered on this romantic love too. Let's not forget, this is really very important at the middle of this. So like I was saying, you have a little bit of everything. You have contact with the people, but you have the love stories of this teenager. You have the love of cinema, the love of creativity, being pushed away from somebody who loves you to tell you, go to look for your life, and you're going to find it, and I don't want you to come back. This is super emotional, because it's like a sentence of a parent saying their kids to go to look for the world. So all of this combination of so many things makes the film so powerful. I don't really think, and I am a very, very high critic of film, because it's what I do. I come out of movie theater screaming, all the time, being mad because things are not good. So for me to say that something is like so well put together, in the sense that I don't have any weakness. I don't see the weakness of the film. I don't see a character who is weak. I find it's a real story who gave us the sense of what good cinema is in 1989. Today, I don't think we can find something. I don't even think that this could be done today. A producer will not produce this. It's too not fast enough, and even if you had to show this in school or for teenagers, they will not like it. There is not, the density is much more on reflection of human being. Reflection of human being is the most important in our form, and is the least used today in cinema. And I'm very clear on that. I'm making really strong statement, and I think it is very rarely. The only film, and I say to many people, because I watch everything, all the Academy Awards, I watch everything. Sentimental Value, anybody watch this? Sentimental Value is a film of Joachim Trier. It's a film of the year, but it's a European film. It's very different. If you have to watch it, go watch this. It's really, really extraordinary, because he will spend
10 minutes with a dialogue between father and daughter. Today, it's not marketable. If you go to a distribution and ask to have a dialogue, they're going to say too much talking. People do not want that. And it's really what question? What question with cinema? Cinema are always about realizing who you are in the film, how you place yourself, and how you discover, the other person or the relationship. I do a lot of screening, and for me, when I see Joachim Trials this year, I think in Bergman of 1957, good films are always based on the saying of a search of some kind and of a feeling of like experimentation or something, and bring you to the high level of being, like any kind of art form. And again, the art form is very important. Like somebody was saying, Louis Buñuel, who is a great film director of the early 20th century, he says, somebody asked him, what is the advice you should give to a young director? He says, the only thing that they do, they have to do what they think they should do and follow their creative path. This is something we cannot do anymore. The French New Wave was the only way at that time in the 60s, producer was accepting it. Today you cannot do that, because the first thing that is seen, as you can see all this big building with Netflix and Lionsgate, how much money is going to make? That is really the base of all cinema today, at 95%, unless you have, who is not a bad film, actually it's a pretty decent film, Amnet. But Amnet was produced by Steven Spielberg. So there is somebody in the back. If there is a film like this who comes with, it's a very decent film, but it's supported by people who have an aura or something like this. So you are in a time of cinema where it's difficult to find film in movie theater. You can find them, but they are not distributed internationally. I go to France often. I watch film in France, and it will never come here. It will never come here, because it will never have enough market to come here. So the first goal is like, how do we take a film and how do we sell it, instead of to say, how good is this film and how good we're going to bring it to people. So here you have an example of a great film in every way, from the acting purpose, and I was saying to the technical aspect of it, that they had to do. They had to just, imagine, I can't even imagine, having a director directing people who do not speak the language. Do not speak the language. Tornatore doesn't speak maybe a little French, but to ask Philippe Noiret to do this very important part in French, making the line and be able to correct it and direct it, I don't know, but he did a really good job, because if you don't know that, you will not even think twice that they speak Italian, but they don't. And these are the two people who are very important in the film. The young woman who is playing not a major role, but an important role, but all of these 3 or 4 people really reinforce the film in a way that it's extremely well done and too, easy to absorb. So it's not an intellectual film, it's not an independent film, it's not a bad commercial film. It's a film who goes to everyone, and it's a quality film, and it's what we need. What we need, because, you will tell me, I know I am interested in very specific niche of independent film, but it's not what people should have. They should have like a way of watching film of quality for everyone. And this is a really great message to say cinema is alive, here, and if we do not go to watch film of this kind of quality, they're going to disappear. Something what happened in the movie business now, the film are not even staying. They stay about 2 weeks and disappear, 2 weeks and disappear. So they produce a ton and ton of film everywhere, and they make it go through as much as fast as they have, and don't take the time on every film. And it's how the business is, and how the films. Any question?
Yeah, I have a question. When it's towards the end of the movie, when the lead character knocks at the door, his mother gets up, and the knitting she does starts coming apart. It seems sure to me that it was trying to symbolize something, but I'm not sure what.
Well, this is really where cinema is interesting. What do you think it is for you? What do you think the symbolization, the symbol of her running around and all these things that she has been building? Because when you build something, the thing is going apart. So it's a different interpretation. Patrick?
I can answer that.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that scene is a reference to something that Alfredo said earlier. When Alfredo is telling Toto to leave and never come back, he says, "Don't look back, don't come back. The thread will be broken." That's a line he says. He says, "The thread will be broken if you ever come back." So I think that scene later with the mother and the thread unraveling is a reference to that.
Yeah. And it's a reference to something you built and you undone, done and undone. It's a lot of vision, but it's really a shot. You still a long time is still on this shot. As she goes down, the camera is on this, for a little while, So of course there's a meaning. All these images, all images, everything used in a film have a meaning of some kind, especially with good director. This is a classical film. Nothing extraordinary about how the film is made. It's a classical film. Well, I'm not going to tell you that they took the camera and put it in a certain angle because there was none of this. The only scene is really very, people talk a lot about this one. The projection is going outside. And they put this just before that Cinema Paradiso get on fire and now they project on the wall. Kind of like opening up to everything else. But otherwise, everything is a very, very classical way of film, classical crew, classical shooting and editing. Nothing really special about it, but content-wise, it's what we're looking at film like this. How the storyline is and how it's touching us. So some films are very important in the technical aspect of it because they change everything, but this is really a content film. Yes.
The blowing up of the theater, and that coincides with his funeral.
Yes.
So was that sort of done on purpose?
Yeah, I mean, when they write, he wrote the script like this, but it is, you can make the connection with this, and it is really a valid connection at the end of Cinema Paradiso. Is enough Alfredo. Alfredo is cinema. Alfredo is a representation of cinema. It's like the projection that we don't test this anymore. Where web projection is different, but this idea of like cinema finish, it's break, he's gone, it's the death of Alfredo, and it's the death of cinema because they're all crying. They're all crying because they're losing what was the center of their community. It's a community thing, that we are looking at it. We're looking at the community falling apart. And today we cannot say that movies are community places. Unless you go into a place all the time and you see the same people, most of the time it's something that you just do fast and you don't stay with this. So it's a very big question, and it's what they say it's a film about what cinema is, what cinema should be, or what we find about cinema.
How do you get to see the longer version?
Oh, you can find this everywhere. You can find this if you just type it like on Google and you say, "Oh, this is the longer version," or you can buy it on the Blu-ray. I have the shorter version on the Blu-ray, but you can have the longer version. It's a long version, but it's very interesting because he's looking for his love after he comes back. It's longer. He finishes a little bit the same, but there is more length. Before he takes the plane back and the last scene. And it's an interesting thing. And this was originally written that way, in a long way. And they cut it. So it's good to know what the director wanted, from this film.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So in Hollywood, would the couple have been married? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood ending?
Yeah. All of these are like, I say this, I was just talking about this Iranian film. Every film, most of the film, European films, with a different sensibility are really kind of this open-ended, where you are on something and you can do something, or you have emotion and all these things, all this process. Hollywood does not like that, because most of the people don't like that. Most of the people will tell you, so what happened? What happened is life. What happened is life. Everything is stopped, everything is closed, nothing is closed, everything is open. What do you do with it? And this is the product of an art form that you think you make you reflect. You make you have different ideas than everybody else about the film. Not the film is not the same for everyone. Some people really think that they are really connected with the love story, let's say with this, and some people connect more with the cinema, like the film or the cinema aspect of the film. So you have all these elements, but Hollywood always is a McDonald's of art. It really is a McDonald's because they have setup. They have a team of writers. I don't know if you know that, they have like 20, 30 writers working and writing together and trying to find what is the best thing to make the story together to be able to have people grabbing their interest and watching it. So art films are like very rarely done today because they are rarely done by one person who's going to bring the project. It's not done that way, it's a big machine. Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the soundtrack, the music by Morricone. To me, it was very, very powerful, made a big impression on me. I've only seen the movie a couple of times, long ago, but I did have the soundtrack CD of the music, and I used to play that all the time because it was so wonderful. And to me, that gives a lot of emotional power to the film, the music. Even without the film, the music seems very emotionally powerful and just enhances so much. What would you say, or what do you think about the soundtrack?
You know, for me it's like essential. On this movie, there is a couple of things were essential for me. The soundtrack for me is extraordinary because it brings you emotion to where it was, and I mean, some of that, but this soundtrack, everybody who has been watching this film is like so moved by it. Remember, it's the composition before to be music for a film. It's a composition of a great musician, you know, who has been composing the score. So whatever you look at it, you look at really something of high quality who support extremely well the film and who fit with the film. Because it doesn't happen always that the score fit with the film. Everything, and it fit with this emotional wave with not excessive, with really very difficult because the Hollywood film about like violence going to a high level of music and all this kind of things is manipulated music. This is not manipulating, it's really straight and bright on the feeling of these people. And I think it's a very, very good package of the film. Like I was saying that all the elements were going together, fit extremely well together. And you can find inside whatever you find for you, and you can really make this your own film. It could, if you are, you know, like I said, the long story or the story of cinema, or the beauty of like Alfredo being such a great mentor for this young man and being like such a father image. All of this in our life, we can always find something. But today cinema doesn't want that. They don't want that. They want the following of things in front of your eyes, and it's a very, very upsetting for me because I found that it's a primitive way of looking at things. You know, like something is not primitive, some of the things is reflecting. You reflect on something, you look at things, and this film, you can show it to everyone. This is like a film you can go with everyone. It's still extremely, extremely popular and very powerful in every way. Any question or any, yeah, please.
Just an observation. I was very impressed with the way he portrayed the movie houses in the 50s, post-war. And apparently the director was not born there, so he was born in the 60s, I think. And so,
But you know,
this atmosphere of the movie house.
But you know, I mean, I was not born at that time either, but my parents told me about this. My parents, you know, my mother, I think, was telling me that she used to go with her mother-in-law in the movie theater on Sunday afternoon in the south of France. And this was like maybe, my mother must have been like 15 years old, it was like in the mid-30s. They used to go with the food, they used to eat in the movie theater, and they used to meet their friends, and it was an all communal thing. Well, of course, I didn't feel like I never lived this, but I knew that some people did that. And I mean, it's a great thing too. Because as much as you can be serious for film, there is like such a great, strong sense of community. How beautiful it is, you know, to have all the people knowing each other anyway from a place and going there. Like, you know, I mean, it's more like a religious place where people go to church or the synagogue or whatever, you know, and they know everyone. But, it's a very rich way of representing cinema. Beautiful.
Gerard, there's hands going up on the left-hand side.
Just,
This is one to let you know.
anyone, oh, yeah, good.
So what do you think about the meaning? What is your take on the meaning of the film compilation of all of the romance scenes?
At the end,
Yeah, I'm curious.
I find such a tender way of the message of Alfredo, you know, to Toto. This is really what this, I mean, this is really how I feel so touched by this. This really thing that is changing and it was Mark cinema for Toto and what he remembers. So it's really a love messages from Alfredo to Toto. You can see it like this, and it's what I see it like. Because again, it depends how you place yourself in the film. Do you place in the emotionally? I do place myself more in the emotional connection between the people. It could be the love story, it could be Toto and Alfredo. I love this relationship. They are like so pure. And the end is this strong message. I never wanted to see you because I wanted to push you to get wherever you are, but this is what I want you to keep. And it's what made you do. It's this who made it. This made Toto. You know, Toto made it because he wanted to have the film. This made him, and I found this really very beautiful and very tender. You know, so all depends. You know what I mean? It's which cinema is. You can simply, you know, it's like how cinema, even if it's cut in pieces, the strengths is a lot of different. See how at that time they used to do this, and after this they accepted it. But I am more and more in this film in the connection between people and this beautiful and strong connection. You know, and that is really something which is very, very difficult to do in cinema because you know what they do? They go overboard. All the time you see that. The thing is going good and suddenly it goes over. Actually, Hamlet, last night I watched Hamlet, I found it's a little bit overboard. It's not easy to just ingest as where emotion is working with you, you know. And that is really great time to be able to do that. Is, you know, a director sometimes I'm not sure about what they're doing, and it's a chance, you know. But he's a good director. He did some really good film. He did a film called Marina in 2000, and he did a few films as well. But this was really the film of his career.
I'm sorry.
Anyone? Yeah.
What would it take in this Hollywood era that we're in for a new wave to come and have more films that are like this that really connect with people on that level?
You know, you're talking about really more, but this will happen, you know? This will happen is when people are going to get bored of this. And they will, and I think I'm going to say something interesting. You know, I've been doing a lot of this classic film for the last 10 years, and I see a big difference now on how people are coming back to older film. So it means like a lot of people are bored about what they're watching. So if they're bored about what they're watching, it's maybe a new need who's coming through. You know, a new need of like accepting young director. But you have to have production company. I take the example of A24, right? A24 was the production company for independent film. It's no more. Now they're producing crappy stuff. So it's like, it's got to be the number of people who are wanted something, and that this really stupid, superficial things to turn around. Is this going to happen? It happens all the time with society. Society changes, you know, I mean, I'm not going to talk about politics, you know, but when you think what we were in the 60s, the French New Wave, the neo-realists, existentialists, people were thinking, debating, changing the world. Look at where we are today. Look at what the society is. It's flat. Even in art, I know very well the art world too, there's nothing going on. It's like very uninventful and very not creative. So maybe if this change, everything changes with it. This is answer your question. And I also. Anything? I know I can talk a lot, believe me. But anyway, I do a lot of screening. But if you got these two papers on the back paper, there is all the screening. I do screening. I have a screening room in Livingston, in the Rockland Park. I do series of films in the Parish. I do film in the Chatham Movie Theater, in Brentford Movie Theater, all different things from, but all foreign films. So this is the way to do it, I think, by building a community of people who are looking at this film. But thank you for coming, because it's always great to see you.
Thank you so much, Gerard. Thank you, everybody who stayed for the talk. We appreciate it.